Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. This week, I've got Dan Welch of Welch Tile in Kent City, Michigan with me, and we are going to discuss a great question he asked me while we were chatting on the phone. Would you hire you? Or no, sorry, I phrased that wrong. Would you work for you? That was the question he asked me. Would you work for you? And that I had to stop and seriously consider that. And the answer is probably not, but we're going to get into that. So here we are, Floor Academy Podcast. We are here to give you advice and help you grow your business to be more successful, more profitable by interviewing other business owners in the industry so that you can see how they're doing it and you can adapt things to help you be more professional, manage your business better, all of that good stuff. I would like to start off by saying that the Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Tralama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at tralama.com. That's TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Tralama is always free for skilled tradespeople. So Dan, thank you for joining me. I know that you have a lot going on in your day, and I appreciate you setting time aside for us. So I will open up the floor, and why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, give us that background on you, who you are, who your company is, and kind of what you do.
Well, thanks a lot, Kyle. Like you said, my name's Dan Welch, second generation tile setter, tile contractor, business owner. We have 7 family members that ran through the business. There's 5 of us still working together on a daily basis. We are primarily a commercial tile contractor, but we also do high-end residential. So we are in the process of departmentalizing or having directors, trying to move it from a single owner to leadership committee, so the directors.
Okay.
We are in the West Michigan market. We have a location in Kent City. We have a location in Holland. We do specialty work, mainly like swimming pools, food plants, hospitals, airports. But we also do, the doghouse. We can do anything from a 10-story, 100-story building to a doghouse. Doesn't really matter to us. We do have a floor covering side to our business that it would be a subcontract labor. But I think our big zig is we have employees. Roughly there's 60 employees here at Welch Tile that do tile.
So 60 people in the field actually doing tile. That doesn't include any of the administrative people or anything like that.
No, as a whole, we're
Okay.
60. So about 40 in the field, 40, 45. So fluctuates a little bit. But I go in the field as well. So I guess sometimes I am in the field and sometimes in the office.
Well, it's hard to not touch things. I think any owner can attest to that. It's very hard to learn to finally back away and let it be. And sometimes things come up, right? Somebody's going to call in and now we're shorthanded. You can't send your secretary out to install tile. That's not her skill set. So I get it. What has that been like? Because your dad started the company, correct?
Yes, he did. 1987.
Yeah. And so are you topped out at the 60 you're at now, or were you larger at one point and you've kind of learned to scale back and this is the size you want to be, or is it like a controlled growth kind of thing now?
I think it's just like anyone else. We try to control growth, but with attrition, now that we've been through, 30 some years in business, 40, whatever it's been, 1987, you lose some, you gain some. And now with the labor market, it's harder to keep people long-term.
But is this the biggest it's ever been, or is this smaller?
Yeah, typical. It's typical.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's the the range of age, right? Everyone always talks about the installation crisis, this, that, the other thing. And so how many if you've got like 40 people in the field, is it significantly heavier on the, I don't know, we'll call it like 45 plus side as opposed to 44 and younger?
I would say my leadership is in that mid to high 40s. So I'm 53. We had that leadership that's project management that have moved up a little bit more. And then in the field, mid 40s is your leadership. And then from there, you have quite a group from that 40 down to 20, 18.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but there's quite a few young people. We have an apprenticeship program. I think maybe we have 15 guys in the apprenticeship program.
Wow. And that's impressive, right? Because everyone's always saying, "Oh, the young guys don't want to work. This new generation, they're lazy and they don't want to work hard. They want $100,000 out the gate. All this stuff." But you're proving it the other way, and I don't know if there's got to be something to the system, but you're also probably going through a lot more people, but that helps you refine a system to better attract them, I would assume. And one of those questions was, would you work for you? And I'm very stunned by it because it takes you back. You constantly hear the stories of, I came up and I was getting trowels thrown at me, and who wants to work for that person? Like, I don't care if that's what Gen X was doing and the greatest generation was doing, and that's the way it was. Like, it still didn't feel good. You didn't go home and say, you know what, having that trowel thrown at me really made me know I was appreciated. So let's walk through this a little bit. What does this apprenticeship program look like? Why do you ask yourself that question of why would you work for yourself? Let's start breaking some of this stuff down.
Okay, so our apprenticeship program was started, it must have been in the 90s. I was on the NTCA board, maybe the early 2000s, late 90s, and I saw a need to train people. I just did what I was supposed to do because I was told to do it, right? Okay. Throw a trowel, you got to do it. Luckily, I had, there was enough of kids, I had to work, so... So I felt like there was a better way. I met with NTCA, started working on the federally approved apprenticeship program, and since then started training people, learned that sometimes they're in town, sometimes they're not in town. It was a challenge to make everybody happy because, well, I'd like a raise. Well, I'd like you to do more. Well, how do I prove that you're doing what I need for the money that you're getting? Started to put them in buckets, apprenticeship AF, apprentice finisher 1, 2, 3, 4, apprentice setter 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And since then have put this all on NTCA, worked with Becky, and it is it's all online. So all the content's there. Back in the 90s and the 2000s, I had to come up with the content, meet with the guys, and it was always my fault that they didn't get the raise because they didn't get through the apprenticeship class. So tried to take that away from them, saying, all right, here's the online version. We can go through it on Saturdays or whatever day you choose, but it's your responsibility to get through it as well. So change the dynamic that it's up to them.
Well, I think you have to, if you want to advance, you have to show the willingness, the eagerness to do so, and you need to put in the extra effort. So I totally agree with that. I also think it's amazing that you've not only structured this whole thing and use it, which is probably one of the reasons why your company can be the size it is because you have systems and processes, and a lot of little guys don't want to put that stuff in place, but you can clearly communicate to someone, this is where you're at, this is where you need to be, here's the steps to do it. And that goes a really long way because most of the time it's go pull stuff out from over there and go mix this, and like there's no set processes. And I get it, what we do doesn't lend itself well to like I can go mix mud every day. Do you got a question you got to answer?
I just did. He's getting head out. So.
Okay. You can't have somebody mix mud every day for a week, like all day, every day. That's not usually how it goes, right? Like you're in there demoing one day, you're prepping another day, you're installing the next day. And maybe on a commercial job, it's a little bit different, So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's still like you need routine. And it sounds like the way you have this structured, you can probably get these young guys this routine to work their way up the system, show them where they need to be, and help them get there more efficiently, which in turn helps keep them around longer.
Correct. That's how we structured our program online, is how Welch does business. So when you get on the NTCA, go to their apprenticeship programs, all online, 5 years worth of apprenticeship. But there's a lot more in the commercial side, especially with specialty swimming pools, things like that. Now, we didn't get into any of that with the apprenticeship program because that's beyond more of than an apprentice. But certainly, if you're doing a swimming pool, you're doing a lot of mud for a long time. So we can sign people off on their skills to mix mud or to install mud, walls, floors, whatever that is. Whereas some will do really, really well with that because they enjoy it. And you leave them on it to get to be an expert at mud walls, for example, which a lot of tile industry, you don't get to, so we were very fortunate to have that ability, those types of projects to really grow people to, the best that they can be, where it's very diverse, I guess.
And
what we do.
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting a lot of different sectors within that, but it's the repetition, the fact it's laid out that makes all of that difference. And so do you find that you have a higher retention rate than most companies because you have a clearly laid out system? Just, I guess, I don't know if you're actually looking into the numbers of this, but are you having these conversations? Do you think you have a better retention rate because you can clearly communicate with the kids? Or, if a 28-year-old dude comes in, he needs to be an apprentice, he's going to start off at the bottom, work his way up, but he knows I've got to do A, B, and C to get to X, Y, and Z.
So I don't think we have a better retention rate, but we work hard at getting a lot of people here to apply and then interview and then hire. So the more you hire, the numbers are going to be, the more you retain. So I think in that first round, let's say you hire 10 people, in the first 6 months, you're going to lose 4 to 5 of them. A lot of them don't realize the work that it is, don't want to work that hard. There's just a number of reasons why people come in and apply and maybe not even show up to the first day, which is unusual from the past. But then, that person that gets there a year, it drops off. You drop a couple people maybe out of that 10. So but really, when you get to that guy that's got 3 years in, he's got the guys around him. He feels a part of the family, the team. It's, from a year to 3 years. That's the main thing. When I see them on Facebook, they're hanging out with the guys at night, fishing, whatever that is, then, they're part of the team. They're going to be there because it's a cultural thing,
Yes.
I enjoy who I work with. I want to hang out. I want to do things with them.
Yeah. No, I think that's a huge part of it, is that there's not, it's obviously slightly harder with smaller businesses, right? When there's not a team to go and hang out with. If it's you and the boss doing it all day, does a young kid really want to hang out with a 40-year-old dude at night? Probably not. But what have you done to help develop that culture and make it exist so that they want to hang out with each other, not only at work, but that they can find things in common and get along, and they take it outside of it?
So we came up with a new logo this last year, and our mission, our vision, and our core values. So we're really trying to push out, why do we exist? We're here to make an impact, to leave it better than we got it. So there's a purpose that's that here at Welch. And when they truly get engaged with others here, the guys care, and we're trying to give them the best quality job we can. You're going to mess up, but we're going to do the best we can every time. So, starting with a mission division, we also have meetings, company events, Christmas parties coming up on Friday, golf, bowling. We might, do something, get a group together that want to do something, just to build that camaraderie between all the ages. So all of that makes a huge difference, but also in everything you do, corresponding, why are we doing it? Why are we here? We're here to make an impact. We're here to, I think our mission is, I can't quite see it from here, but
Uh-oh.
but
Uh-oh.
to leave an impact to, a good day's work for a good day's pay is what it was. We just transitioned the wording.
Okay.
Dad's always been that. So we want to give you a good day's work, for a good day's pay, but we also want to give a good day's work to our customers. So, we're just the balance of that as an employer, to balance the best, job we can for the best value, and give the most money we can for the job.
Well, you're not only investing in your community, obviously, by being a larger company, employing more people, but you're investing back into your employees, it sounds like, and you're trying to raise them up. You don't want to leave anybody the way you found them. You want to make them better. And I don't know that a lot of companies do that, right? You mentioned having a mission statement and core values, and I don't care if you're a one-person company. Like, you've got to know what you stand for. You're hitting on all these things that I think, you look at Fortune 500 companies and you're like, that's for them. No, it's not.
No.
It's for all of us, and we need them.
Yeah, some of the investment is not like our apprenticeship program. You would think we'd be doing 100% training on skills, but we actually bring in the 401k provider. We talk to them about how they're going to start here and how do you get to retirement and with dignity. That was one of our core values, retirement with dignity. Innovation is one of our core values as well. We like to innovate. We like to do things smarter, not harder, right? Why should we be hauling all the tile with a 2-wheel cart when we could put them all on rolling carts? And then when people tell us to move our tile, it's on rollers, you can roll it yourself.
Yeah.
Why do you want me to go move it for you? Just stupid little things, to make their life easier. But we bring the bank in, we bring in, I tell everyone, if you're ready to buy a house or you want to try to work on your credit, I will walk you right over to the bank. It's right across the street. Meet with the loan person there, whatever it is. Introduce them, get them going in a conversation, and then walk out. Welch Tile provides a lot of benefits to our people: 401ks, health insurance, life insurance, multiple different things, accidental. But it's a huge benefit to that employee to be able to have his checks direct deposited on every Thursday, and help them with their finance so their money goes farther. If otherwise they think, I got to make more money because I'm going broke. Well, maybe it's not the money, it's how do you spend your money.
No, I agree, right? You can go into these Facebook groups that we're all in, and there's one, I think it's a meme, right? It's got a picture of like a pack of cigarettes and a monster and like a lighter or something underneath a crate that has a little pull trap, right? And it's like how to catch an apprentice. And it's funny, but it's not like when your employee is constantly coming to you and saying, "Hey man, can I get fronted $20? Hey, can I get another $20? Hey, can I get $100? Hey, I can't afford to come to work today because my tire popped." And like, it's legit, the tire popped because they were bald because they can't afford new tires. At what point do you say, "Hey man, what's going on with you? How can I help you figure this out in a way that maybe I don't have to pay you more"? They may be deserving of it, but that's a different discussion. But can I show you ways that you can manage your money? I think you have to invest in people in more than just providing them a job, because there's so many people that don't get this education, and it's for people that understand it, it's easy to pass on and show. And so it's going to give you a different kind of loyalty, I think. And they're going to, I would think people would start bragging about who they work for and what they bring to the table when you're giving them these little extras.
Yeah. Well, just like we started out, would you work for you? Certainly in my position, I'm the dad, right? Leadership team is dad. We're trying to raise our kids, and they're coming to us with all different, you know, upbringings and challenges, and you name it. But they all have their positives and they all have their negatives. Just like I have my positives and I have my negatives, and we're going to try to develop the positives and communicate the negatives in a meaningful way. I noticed that this happened. What's up? I'm like, rather than, hey asshole, here's the trouble.
Yes.
So
Correct.
we work with consultants. One of them's the 6 coaching questions. What's the real challenge here for you after you've asked them that? I noticed that, and what's your next step? By when? Try to make them accountable, and then what support do you need? And then what was the most useful for you here today? So we're trying to learn as leaders how to coach people up, because I never learned from a college. I just learned from the school of hard knocks.
Well, and so that's my question is, how much of this kind of existed when your dad was in charge, and then obviously the company's transitioned over to you, and you're bringing it seems like a whole new take on it, because you were getting trowels thrown at you. So,
maybe dad didn't throw them, but some of the other guys did.
Yeah. Well, yes, I don't want to throw your dad under the bus. I'm sure he's a great guy, but I think there's a lot of people that get stuck in, this is how it was done for me, and so I don't want to move on. Whereas you've embraced, the world changes around you, and if you don't keep up with it, you're going to become a dinosaur and go extinct. And so did any of that come from your dad? Was that kind of in the company before you took over, or was this all brought to the table by you for the most part?
Oh no, my dad brought a culture just by who he was. He didn't have it written. He was just one of those guys that you wanted to work for, right?
Okay.
Would you work for you? He was that guy. I wanted to work for him, and everybody else did too. And changing of the guard, we had to transition to the kids, and we all were probably a little too rambunctious for some, or, we lost some, we gained some, but we learned over time that sometimes you just got to be a little bit calm, and this too will pass. But I was smart enough to know that I didn't know, so I went out and got the help, right? So just like hiring new employees, if it's important to you, then you should probably go out and find out the best way to hire employees. So we invested money and brought people in and said, all right, how do we do this? Well, you might want to change how your interviews are. You need to ask leading questions to someone who's coming in. So our interview process is like, man, I want to go to work here tomorrow,
Yeah.
So once you get them to apply, and then who do you send out the applications? Who are we targeting? Where do you get your best? We seem to get more people around our Kent City location than our Holland location, because this is where we originally were from. And Holland's a little tougher market and a lot more, manufacturing in that area. So whatever it is that is important, you need to invest in it. So investing in people or processes to hire people or to learn, and then, investing in coaching to be the best employer you can be. I'm just a tile guy that learned how to be an employer. I'm a better tile guy than I'm an employer, I think, but I do have values that I learned from my dad that are super important.
Well, no, but you're willing to, I've been doing this 40 years. Well, great. But what else have you done? What else have you learned, right? You've taken that next step and said, look, I'm good at this. I'm not so great in these areas, but I need to gain these skills in order to make sure that I can continue to provide for the people around me. You've got 59 livelihoods in your hand. There's 59 people counting on you that on Thursday, that direct deposit's going to happen and it's going to be successful. That's no task to take lightly. And I think oftentimes it's, I just need somebody, and we don't actually appreciate the fact that you've made an agreement with this person to pay them. And it's not just pay them. It's, I'm going to make sure you get paid. I'm going to make sure that this happens on a weekly basis, and I have work for you. And that is a whole nother level of added stress than when you're just by yourself and you're like, I'm making okay money. It's no big deal if I don't work for a week. So there's, you're going out, you're finding the people you need. You're putting together the systems. You're making sure you have a good interview process and application process. So do you target anywhere specifically? Like, have you found a way to get into your local high schools and you work with the shop class or anything?
Yeah, we have
go ahead.
the Kent Skill Center, Vocational Center. I'm on their advisory committee. I'm the chairman of their advisory committee. I haven't got a lot of kids from that, but I am going there twice a year to meet with the kids, analyze them for their end of their semester exam, talking to them about tile, getting tile into the curriculum there. So there's some, at least some kind of awareness that tile exists.
Yeah.
We go to the Career Quest, which is 9,000 kids come into our local um, um, convention center,
Okay.
and they see tile. If we didn't invest in that, they wouldn't know anything about tile. It's a construction, they have manufacturing, they have other IT and four quadrants, but they come into construction and tile's there because Welch Tile invests in that. Now I haven't got a lot of kids out of that, but it's important that we do that. You're otherwise they wouldn't have any idea that it even existed.
No, I agree. It's something I picked up on this. I don't know. I want to say I said it in a podcast like 6 months ago. I don't know. I was looking at the way things work, right? And you're a kid, you're driving around in the car with mom and dad, and you're looking out the window and you can see the road workers. Like, that's a potential job, right? I can get in the big Caterpillar and do something. I can be the guy on the road holding a sign. Okay, that exists. You're driving around, you see homes being built. You see framers, you see carpenters, you see roofers. Like, all of these things you see, but you don't ever see the flooring guys, the tile guys, because by the time the walls are up, you can't see inside anymore and see what they're doing. And so how many people truly get exposed to what we're doing and know it's a viable option as a trade? I think it gets, right. We're left in the dark and not seen, as you say. And I think it's very cool that you're going and you're like, I haven't gotten a lot of kids, but we continue to invest just to have a presence to show people that we're there. And I think that's going to go further long-term than anything.
Right. One of the big things I think that we have done just through trial and error is we brought in the local school, the entire staff, from the administration all the way through the janitor, and Kent City Schools came over. We spent 4 hours with them. We set up departments from the showroom to the warehouse to the truck driver to the tile setter, explained to them how the Pythagorean theorem works for us and all the different things. Talk to these influencers of kids, right? Of Welch Tile's an employer in your community, and they really give a shit, and they know it, right? And it's in your culture. They see it, breathe it, and they're like, I'm excited to tell these kids about going to work at Welch Tile because they're right here.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It's you're actively doing some things that I've talked about, and I need to find ways to better use my time. And if I have a down day, find a way to get into a school and go and talk. Like, if we don't advocate for our trade, then who's going to do it? Because the way it's been for the past 20, 30 years, as far as I've been in the industry 6 years. I don't know everything, but I can look at what I see the conversations being and say, something hasn't been right for a long time, and we need to change and look at this differently. And so if we're not going to advocate for ourselves to grow this industry and make it respectable, who is? And you're out there doing that.
Absolutely. And I push it nationwide, being on the executive committee for the National Tile Contractors Association. Education and training is my passion. Certainly, I know all the standards. It's been very helpful for me. It's certainly meeting people all over the country has been very helpful to us to secure work, to learn from, getting together, whether it's through a podcast or in person. In my generation, we did it in person. And it's a super important to pick up the phone. I have people all the time that call me and say, Dan, remember me? You were at this event? Yeah, absolutely. And I'll answer their questions, because I've been there. What would you do in this situation? Well, this is the standard and here's where it's at, or You need that mentorship,
Yes.
to help. So whether it's, hiring people or whether it's, running your day-to-day operation, or it's all about, trying to surround yourself with the ideal team player, right? So there's a book out there called The Ideal Team Player,
Okay.
and that person needs to be humble, hungry, and smart. So it doesn't have to be smart like they, physicists, but they're smart about how they treat people.
Okay.
They're hungry. They're hungry that they want to learn, they want to grow, they want to, embrace, and then, and humble. Somebody might be hungry but not humble, and you're giving them all this information, they're going to be your competitor, or, but that humbleness, that they're doing it for the greater good, right? So that's your ideal team player, those three attributes: hungry, humble, and smart. And trying to really hire and promote people with those same talents, right? So when I leave, my dad transferred this information to me. I'm trying to put processes in place, innovate, build some kind of a structure, and, be a good steward to it, so that the next generation has a place to work. Because it's not about me. I'm making the same as you. I'm just a tile setter. I'm just the guy in between, trying to do the best I can while it's in my possession. I'm not taking it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave it here for the future, and make sure we find the right people to give a darn, take it over to
Yeah.
grow them.
No, I have a comment. Give me 1 second, and then I wanna go back on what you said, because I love one of the words you used, and it's important to me. What's the hardest part of starting and growing a flooring business? Getting clients. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, you need a marketing partner like Traffic Digital. Traffic is a full-service marketing agency that works with flooring companies all across the country. They'll help you get a continuous stream of They'll help you get a continuous stream of clients using the most modern online marketing techniques. Visit www.trafficdigital.com today and sign up for a free marketing analysis. And remember, traffic is with a K. All right. So you use the word steward. And it's funny because in my Floor Academy group a couple months back, that thought came to me, and I was like, what if you started running your business with the thought that you were a steward of your client's money, as opposed to just trying to collect a check? And it gives you a totally different way of how you would present value, the kind of products you would want to use on that project, because you want to be a steward of their money and use it to the best of your ability, and give them something great. And you're sitting here saying, this isn't my company. I'm just a steward of it for the time being, and I need to make sure I pass it on so it can continue to grow and influence people. And I don't know how many people look at being a CEO like that. That's a very different perspective, in my opinion.
Well, when my dad passed away about 7 years ago, I had hired a consultant, and that consultant, you know, we talked, and he said, "Well, it looks like you could use this person with these skills," and I didn't know what those skills are, but it happened to be that, God was playing a big role in my life, and I had met a guy the day after my dad died at a breakfast thing with some friends, and he was out of a job at that point, but he had the same core values as we did.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Hey, come on over. We'll see what we got." He was in charge of $1 billion worth of revenue for a big hospital, very high powered guy. But we found that we have the same stewardship care.
Okay.
His ministry to give back and to care and grow and develop people. So, from that point, it was amazing. Dad dies, and then this other guy comes in, and he's helped the family grow the business. But we put the processes into a more formal process, because our skills are technical, and I'm an R&D kind of guy. I love to figure out why and what and how, and I'm big into being able to do it efficiently and effectively, and being the best at whatever that is, But
Yeah.
he was a buckets guy. So now yin and yang are working in the same. We have a consultant to help us grow this business to where we can hand it to the next generation, and it's not without a lot of bumps, but we have a plan. We're working the plan, and we're doing the best we can every day to execute the plan. And it's a hope that I can get to retirement and hand it off. And I'd rather give it away than, die with it at 90 years old because you didn't know how to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the money. It's about all that talent, developing processes, people, and our industry needs us, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have a Welch Tile, who else would learn and go on their own and do their own thing? A lot of people are on their own that used to work here. And I used to get upset about it, but it's okay. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them leave about 30. They, don't see opportunity. It's not growing as fast as they'd like to. People come to them, whatever reason. But many of them don't have a plan of how they go into business. They're just, I want a lifestyle that's better than I have today. Well, okay, give it a shot. I'll call them, keep in touch with them. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Where you at? And I have no problem bringing them back. If that's not really what you want, do you really want to work 70 hours a week? You're making more money, but you could do that here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's the purpose? And they don't quite get that at 30 sometimes. Some of them do.
Yeah. No,
there's the best, and
there's a lot of things that aren't talked about. And this goes back to like having those conversations with your employees to properly educate them on life, right? Like they see, like I try and work 7 to 3, 7 to 4. So they see that, and they see that the truck leaves full of garbage, and they see it comes back empty in the morning, and they know that there's a job next week and that the material's already delivered to it, but they don't always put it together that I was the one that went and did all of that after we worked 8 or 9 hours. And so there was another 2 or 3 hours of work that day for me to do. And you just show up and do this thing during the day, and then you go. And so I get people getting mad because someone leaves, right? You've invested into them for 3, 4, 5, 10 years. I'm going out on my own. But if you would have taught them right, and they go out on their own, and they're now your quote unquote competitor, if you taught them right, they're going to compete at the same level or higher, which will raise the bar in your market. What's to get upset about? When you teach them wrong, they're lowering the bar, and that's where these hacks come in. And I don't know what to charge, and I just need to get money. I just have to pay my bills. Well, that's on us. Why didn't we do better bringing that employee up to encourage them to compete at a higher level and show them the skills needed to be able to go out on their own and run a business? And then, like you said, they get, maybe they get frustrated a few years down the road, and they don't like doing the 70 hours a week for the money they're making, and they don't want to deal with the responsibility of this client's calling 6 months down the road because the grout's cracking, and what do I have to do about it? And it's just easier to go and collect a check somewhere sometimes.
Yeah, and they come back with a whole different idea. Mm-hmm. They realize that the truck did get unloaded last night by somebody. And, those resources that you have, a logistics team, a estimating team, all of these these departments are important to the overall greater good of the company. And, if you want to do that, internally bringing them up, posting jobs, interviewing, but when you're small, it's hard because those jobs come up and you don't know if they're going to be a full-time, can I keep them busy, and are they the right person? And, it's difficult at best, we were fortunate to get a core of people around us that stayed long enough to be influential in the next group. And without that, we'd have nothing. Those core people are here because we give a shit.
No, it shows. I don't think anyone would stay around that long if they weren't seeing how invested you were in making a difference. And it's through communication. This isn't just going and putting tile on walls or carpet on the floor or luxury vinyl plank in, everyone. It's going and actually getting to know the person you're working with. Like, yes, we talk with our coworkers, but do you really know them? Are you getting into the things and finding out what makes them tick and how they want to succeed and what you can do to make their life better? And I think that's what Dan is saying he's bringing to the table here is it's not just showing up and punching in and punching out. They're trying to do something totally different. The fact that I think your company's probably large enough that the state regulates you have to provide some benefits, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how Michigan works. No? Okay.
No.
Okay. I know some states have like rules on like if you're this size, like you have to start doing it. But even the fact that you're doing that, it shows a difference. How many people are illegally 1099ing their employees and making them, they control everything about it. There's no 1099 other than you don't know how to run a business and you don't want to pay taxes on that money. So you just write this person a 1099 and screw over an 18-year-old kid that has no idea what that means. So
Well,
you're
it's
going
clear
above and
that their
beyond.
purpose is, they're not humble, right? Their purpose is their purpose to make money for them. Their purpose is not to grow a business.
Mm-hmm.
If it's very clear if somebody's watching, if you're not hiring people and giving them, the best you can, I mean, yes, sometimes you have to start that way, but it doesn't always have to be that way. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you grow and develop people? You have to grow and develop in order to grow people. So keep going. Don't forget that you were once them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing, though, is like, that's the part I see is that within this industry, I don't think that message has been clearly communicated from generation to generation. And that's kind of why we're in the boat we're in, is there's just been this, I just got to pay the bills. And I'm going to teach you the least amount possible to have you be able to make me a couple of bucks, but I don't want to teach you anything too important because you might leave me. And then they look at it and they say, well, I'm not making enough, but I think I know enough to go out on my own and I'll just charge what I need to make. And then they go and they just kind of learn by screwing up. When, like you said, the old school way is let's go to these conventions, let's go to these NTCA meetings, let's go and network with people. And I love that stuff. I'm all for it. If somebody tells me they're going to go take a certification class somewhere, I encourage them to take the one out of town as opposed to the one in town, because I want to see them go and meet people outside of their usual network of people, because these things happen. This interview is only happening because I was introduced to Trask through Shannon Huffstickler. Trask mentioned you in our conversations and talked to you at coverings, and then we were able to connect. And so if I wasn't interacting in person and online with all these different people, these things wouldn't happen. And so I think the online accelerates it, but are you still have to get out and do this belly to belly networking. It's super important. And you have to be willing to learn and pass that on and encourage the next generation to do it.
Right. 2 or 3 guys that have the skills can do very, very well if they all stay together.
Mm-hmm.
Go out on their own, they can do very well with, they have all the skills. But when they don't get along and pretty soon they separate, then they don't have as much to sell, then they have to train the next guy under them. Then they have to hire people. Then they have to provide services. And, it's a different animal at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's challenging. So, yeah, it's great when you have 2 or 3 people that are really good and they left to a company that nurtured them, trained them, educated them, and went on their own until that falls apart. And then that's that window when they're the most productive, right? I see a guy at 30 to 40 is the most productive time in their life, and that's when you lose them. And it's really disheartening, right? Because that's your best earning years. They go out and earn more, but if they were just to stay the course, the tortoise and the hare, right? We put into their 401k, you have their health insurance, but one catastrophe without health insurance and all you is gone. You turn in your 401k, you pay the taxes on it, you pay the 10% fine, and then you have nothing for retirement. Instead of if at 20, if you just put in this little bit, at 60 you can retire.
Yeah.
But they don't think that long.
It's
some people.
Correct. It's hard to have that long-term vision, and how do you communicate that? Some people are always going to be stubborn. Some people get it, but you're at least actively attempting. I don't think the industry as a whole is actively attempting, and I don't think people see it. I have a spreadsheet, and I built in like what a 3% match for like as a smaller company, if I were to hire somebody, I could offer a simple IRA. Like I can't. It's for me to buy into a 401k plan and have someone manage it. I don't have enough people to make it worth my while. It'd be too expensive.
Right.
But at $20 an hour, you're 3 cents on the dollar. So you're what 60 cents an hour extra. So what's 2060? Big
Right.
deal. Like it's not. These little things aren't going to break the bank on you, folks. I get that, like, workman's comp insurance in some states can be super expensive, and I'm super fortunate to live in Arizona where it's fairly cheap. But what's a paid vacation breakdown? Like, if you give somebody a 1 week paid and they're at $20 an hour, they make $800 a week. Divide that up over 50 weeks, and what is that $800 really costing you? Probably not a lot. Like
Right.
I think
It's a lot of energy on your part to set all those things up as a self-employed employer, right?
Mhm.
It's a lot of energy. You got to meet with the IRA people. You do all that due diligence for your employee,
yes.
because the fiduciary responsibility is mine. And, we have to meet them. We have to make sure we're doing the right things and encourage and reward. We really, really, really work hard to try to understand that, this, let's say $25 an hour, $27 an hour, is not only that, it's the other $6, $7, $8 an hour in benefits, So it's $30 an hour. But, well, I want 30 on my check. Well, then you're paying taxes on it and all these other things, and they don't
Yes.
quite understand, but you also only have to work 40 hours, not 60 hours or 70 hours, or scratch your head in the middle of the night, not sleep. Right. Maybe I'm the only one doing that. I'm not sure.
I doubt it. I doubt it. There's plenty of sleepless nights. I'll still get nervous before an install, and I don't have a big team, right? But it's still like, I care so much that I will wake up in the middle of the night and start thinking about the install the next day and wondering, what could I have done different on that estimate I went to? Like, all these little things matter to me. And if I have an employee, man, I really need to get that week filled so I can pay him, or what can I had a kid working for me for a while, and I kept asking him, I was like, where do you want to be? Like, where do you see yourself? Like, what's your goal? And he was just super lost, and like he could never give me an answer. And it was really disheartening to me because I just wanted to see him succeed. And it bothered me that I couldn't find a way to get him to answer the question so that we could work towards something together. And eventually he just stopped showing. He got a girlfriend, and that totally screwed everything up. And then I had to let him go. But those things bother you, and I think there's a lot of other people that they bother, and maybe there's a lot of people running businesses that shouldn't be. I think you'd agree, and so maybe if you're not bothered by these questions, maybe you shouldn't be running a business and having employees. I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer or not, but there's a lot of people that should probably go back to being an employee instead of just running their own show.
Well, it's very difficult to, when you work like too many hours, right? Your knees start to get hurt, and you get to a certain age, you can't produce like you did when you're 30 to 40. And, all of these are part of life, right? You don't think it's going to happen to you, but I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So you need to have, safety. You have to have all of these things, because working without safety glasses, going without knee pads for years, all those stupid things we did as kids affects you down the road,
Yeah.
So working 8 hours a day, not 18, all of those things, even though you're under the gun, you got to think about the long-term cost.
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely times to put in the overtime and something comes up on a project. And if you got to go from 8 to 10 hours, cool. But there's too many people out there struggling that are putting in 12, 14-hour days, 5, 6 days a week. And then they're subcontracting for somebody. And then on Sunday, they got a side gig doing it for Susie Homemaker, and they're putting in 400 square feet and working, 8-10 hours on that day. When does it stop? You have to take care of yourself so you have something to give in the future. So
Right.
I agree. What I want to ask is, I know you're obviously offering benefits. Do you have anything that's unconventional and outside of the box that you offer besides the standard, here's some vacation, here's a 401k, here's some, sick time? Are you doing anything outside of the box that makes it a little different?
Well, during COVID, we had COVID pay.
Okay.
So we ended up having to pay all of that while people were off and bring them back to work and not put them to work. But, so as an employer of our size, and yes, there are some things that the government dictates to you and you don't have a chance to plan for, like COVID pay. And but we do have a life insurance policy. People don't value it a lot, but if employee dies, we give them $10,000. We had 2 since we've implemented it, and that's only been 7 years. I found out that my dad's dad had a life insurance policy on my dad from the 40s. Wow, that's pretty cool. We should do that. So I implemented that 10,000. One of our employees unfortunately passed away unexpectedly at 35. And I was happy to, that his wife had something, from Welch Tile. Another employee was a 1099 that was helping us on occasions. He got cancer and died, but we took $10,000 out of our account and paid his wife.
Okay.
Because it wasn't part of the insurance thing, but it's important, right? That's, that you care.
Yeah.
The 401k, we do a match. We used to do $1.20 an hour. Every hour you work went into a, health or 401k type program. But we try to encourage like 5.25% match up to $2,400 a year. So it's a pretty good benefit. So if they put in $3,000 some dollars, we put in 2,400 or something. I think it's 75 cents on the dollar up to I don't exactly remember, but it's $2,400.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. The another thing that we manage is accidental insurance and things like that. But not only having the programs, but bringing in the sponsors of those programs at our company meetings, because they don't know what to do with them, but setting up time for our employee to meet with the 401k guy to talk about it. We just implemented a new program where all of our benefits are on one site, like Procore or something. I don't exactly, I haven't seen it yet. I'm not in charge of some of those things. I'm not the best guy at it, but being able to, at a finger touch, know how many days they have a vacation, all of those things. I think that's a big benefit to them, be able to see it from home on an app right on their phone. This is how much you have. We switched our insurance carrier to less cost provider, which I think put a lot more money into their pockets and their 401ks. But yeah, just we give away gift cards a lot of times and different things. Like if you sign up for 401k Auto Enroll, it's another thing we do every year. The auto enrolls at 1% higher than the year before, and they got to sign something to not do that. So we're encouraging all the time, right? It automatically goes in at 2% every year thereafter. It's 1% auto ups, and they don't realize they've gotten a couple raises during the year, and to remember to put a little bit more in their 401k.
Yeah.
So things like that are important. Staff to oversee it, whatever that is, just to be there.
No, I think it's great getting the companies involved. I have a buddy that does, 401ks and retirements and financial advisory stuff. And that's his thing, is he'll try and go into these businesses and set up, hey, I'll bring in the sandwiches and let me talk to your people, and we'll see if we can get them enrolled and get you signed up on our plan or whatever. But then he's there down the road and he wants to come back, and he wants to actively, it's his job to sit down with the employee that says, I don't understand any of this and what it means. I'm 20 years old. I don't get it. It's his job. It's not your job. It's his job to come in and sit down with that kid and walk him through it and explain it. It's part of why he gets to earn a commission on everything he does. But that little benefit can go really far, because he can work with somebody to say, do you know how to budget? Do you know what saving and how compound interest works and all of that? And so once it goes back to those little things that show you care. And I think I know from talking, right, you're a big, I don't want to give you a hand out, I want to give you a hand up guy. And being able to do all of those things, that's what's building this culture around it, to where your employees probably go out and talk when they're out at friends' houses, be like, I work for Welch Tile, and that's way better than, any of these other places, are like, this is what they do that cares. And how many times do you hear people really brag on their employer?
Yeah, I definitely am very blessed to have the people that we have. And, they also get online and they see all of the podcasts of you should go on your own. So that's where my big thing here is it's really cool to be a tile setter, right? I love being a tile setter. I'd rather be a tile setter, to be honest.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do. I like figuring things out, all that kind of stuff. But I really like to be able to look back on a day's work and feel good about what you did, and be able to run a crew and be with them and have fun. I'm up in my office trying to figure out the next estimate, all these other things, and by yourself. Whereas out in the field, you can enjoy your day a little bit, even if it is on a Saturday, working with the guys on a shutdown. It's okay. I enjoy that. You lose that as you get bigger because you don't have the time to, but you need to continue to do it. So what we've been doing is, maybe every quarter we'll go to a job, buy breakfast, just see the jobs. I don't even get to see a lot of the jobs. We're doing a big job with 4 swimming pools, and there's 25 guys on the job, and I just stopped in with breakfast, check things out, tell them, just see it. One of them is my son. He's a foreman now. And my God, some of the tile work they're doing is absolutely beautiful, and how did you get to the ceiling 30 feet up and go around the big, air duct? So we had to sit on the dock, and, it's all these things, but it's really cool to experience that with them. And I wish I had that more. And I did it for a long time. I was in the field for a long time. And I still am. And that's really what I enjoy. Well, so being the owner isn't really what I enjoy. It's being with the guys.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the hardest part to all of this, is that a lot of times we don't want to let go. And you realize that in order for this company to grow, someone has to be in the driver's seat, and you've got to let go and trust the employees to do it. But you're not remaining faceless and staying in your office and staying hidden and letting this thing go. You're still going out and saying, hey, I appreciate you. I don't know if you can name all 60 of your people. I would be very impressed if you could. But the fact that you probably know at least half of them, I would assume, and can see them around the office or stopping by in the morning or out in the field and be like, hey, Danny, hey, Bob, like, how's it? I appreciate you guys showing up today and doing what you do. That goes a long way for people. It's hard. It's easy when you're small to stay connected like that. As you grow, you lose it. But to be out in the field and wanting to be there and knowing what it took them to do it, I think when you actually make comments, they probably feel truly acknowledged and know that you really respect them. How many CEOs could go in the field and, say, man, I really appreciate the tile work you're doing. Like, Steve Jobs was never going to be able to walk out and do that to somebody, really.
Well, it's nice to just pick up a bucket of mud and start working right with them too. They know I can, and they know I do. And I think that's a huge thing. Our new operations officer can't do that, but what he can do is help put them into buckets and help them grow, through the, how to budget, all of those types of things. He's very good at putting processes and people into those processes and helping them understand the big picture with these, I guess, napkins. Here's all the buckets. And I just said that, but I guess I didn't see it the way you did. And it's really enlightening that he has that talent to be able to show it to you on paper. My talent is I can go out and lay tile with them, enjoy it, and, have fun.
Yeah.
Right. It's important to have fun. You're not there to crack the whip. You're there to work together, enjoy each other, and, work another day. It's not like we're going to get rich in the tile trade. I mean, I don't think it's possible,
I don't agree with that. I do think it's possible, but I don't think there's a reason to hate what you're doing. You can have fun while you're doing it and enjoy it. And that's what you're bringing to the table.
I guess, being rich is two different opinions, I guess, but I certainly think resources are important and having company resources, buy the right tools, buy the equipment, but it's not going to, you'll make a good living, but you're not going to be a doctor's wages. You know, you're not going to get to that, you know, in the tile trade. Or if you do, maybe you're avoiding some of the resources being invested in the right spot.
Could be. I
So,
agree. There's
yeah.
definitely more that could be given back, probably. So we haven't really answered the question, I guess, that we started out. I mean, we have in a long way, but why did you come to the question of would I work for me? Was that something that was asked of you at one point, or was this something you came up with on your own?
Just when we were having a discussion, I asked that question because of
Okay.
the comments, you know, well, would you work for you? You know, I would, you know, I'd work for Welch Tile. You know, I enjoy working here. I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy who I work for with,
Hmm.
right? I guess technically they work for, you own their company, but I'm not their supervisor. I'm not their, you
Yeah.
know, I just have a role. This is my job, and I like it, and I think that's a big part of it. You know, if you can answer that question, then other people would want to work for you too.
Hmm. No, I think you're absolutely correct, and there's many days I know that I would not want to work for me. So,
Well, there's
there's
days I wouldn't want to work for me either, but overall, you know, most
no,
of the
I
time.
wouldn't. I'll be honest, I wouldn't. I'm kind of an a-hole. So I have areas to improve. I'm not great at training. I don't have patience. And I would love to find someone to bring onto my company that is like a great, naturally gifted teacher and let them be that person to help grow that side of the business and raise up the new people that are going to come in. That's what I know. I would love that to be the compliment to me because I like the numbers and I would rather sit in the office. I'll trade you.
Yeah.
Um, is there something I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
No, I think that it's okay that this is what I do, right?
Hmm.
My dad always was a big opponent, says, I'm a tile setter. We're better than a dywaller and better than a painter, you know? Some people think we're not as good as an electrician or plumber, but I beg to differ. I think we're
Hmm.
better than an electrician and plumber. I mean, he just felt like this trade needed to be respected,
Hmm.
right? And that's how we all felt respected when he was here because this trade deserves to be respected. What we do is tough. You know, shit goes downhill an eighth of an inch per foot. That's not that tough, but all of our stuff, if it doesn't work right, it doesn't look right. You know, it's not. To me, it's important what we do, and they should feel value as whether they're self-employed or
Hmm.
whether they work for someone. It's important what we do. There's a big chain out there of people manufacturing tile, setting materials, tools, you know, all depend on us as tile setters. So it's be good, you know, be okay with that. You know, it's okay. You know, it's respected. So I guess that's my big thing. You know, I'd rather do it every day, but
Yeah, no, I agree.
it's a, you know,
Like I said, it goes
do
back to,
be a ditch digger, be the best dang ditch digger there is another form my dad tell me. You know, if you're gonna be a tile setter, be the
mhm.
best damn tile setter there is.
No, totally agree. It goes back to, like I was saying, you don't necessarily see it, right? You walk in a house, it's finished, you see a shower, you see the floor, and you're like, all right, looks good. But the work, the time, the effort, the knowledge that it took to be able to do it all is why it needs to be respected. And we have to bring that awareness back to this industry. And the just the flooring industry, the tile industry as a whole, it just needs to be made aware of we're
Yeah.
doing things with our hands and we're craftsmen, we're artisans. This isn't just even look, I don't really do anything fancy. I click together floors, but it still takes a certain set of skills to make it happen. It's the prep work that matters, and that prep work's not easy. Going into a house and saying you need 20 bags of level, you can't just dump them willy-nilly. There's skill that goes into doing it. So
Right.
it definitely, an awareness needs to be made that, hey, look, we're not just dumb blue collar guys. There's actual we're smart in a different way.
Right.
And it like, let's show people that and have them realize the value of what we bring to the table. Because at the end of the day, if it's not getting done, they don't get a house. So what are you going to do now? That's the funny part to me, is why are we not respected when the house doesn't exist without what we're doing? And new home builds, if you get an FHA loan, you can't close if it doesn't have a floor. Why are we not why is what we do like bottom of the barrel labor? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it is. So I'm big opponent of this. We're damn good at what we do, and this is what we do, and I'm proud of what I do. So, if we don't do a good job with all of this, we're all going to be looking for jobs. So, there's somebody out there who's going to do it faster, stronger, better if we don't. So we're working innovatively to always do stronger, faster, better, to provide value to the customer and to provide a quality of life for the installer. So don't stop doing that. Do the best you can every day.
I love it. I think it's great advice, and making sure that your employees and even guys that are independent like me feel valued and appreciated. That's going to go a very, very long way in knowing that you actually truly appreciate them and they're not just there to put a dollar in your pocket. So let's make that.
They need us all. Yeah. The industry needs us all. And just do the best darn independent tile setter or independent flooring clicker or the best darn CEO or whatever that is,
I love it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I think this is all great advice. I love the you mentioned being humble. I can tell you were very humble. You appreciate the opportunities you've been given, and you want to make sure that they're able to continue on. So, Dan, I appreciate you giving up your time to come and have this conversation with me. If people are in your area, hey, you don't have to work on your own. If you're in Kent or Holland, Michigan, go work for Welch Tile if you're listening in the area, or if you're moving to Michigan. I bet you he probably take somebody on that's looking to move to the area or looking for work, and he needs good guys. Everybody does, but here's a proven company that wants to respect you. So you can easily find their information online. I want to say welchtile.com.
Yep.
Okay. So there you go. There's that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to another episode. Make sure you hop in the Floor Academy group on Facebook, and we continue these discussions there. You can visit the website, flooracademypod.com. You can check out the business budget calculator on there. You can go to the store. It's getting cold out. Go get yourself a hoodie or a beanie, guys. Help support the show. What else do we got going on? I don't know. It's getting late in the year. It's December. Go to Surfaces. Go network with people in person. I've got a couple talks booked. I know some other people have talks booked. There's the CFI installation competition going on. NTCA is always there, and they staff their booth with some of the best people you'd ever want to talk to. So stop by, go there, stop by. You'll find a great conversation to have somewhere at that show with somebody, and it will make a difference in your business. I guarantee it. Let's see. I got to close this out here. So, Flooring Domain is an award-winning online directory and service marketplace that helps you find more customers, grow your online presence and reputation, or your brand. Whether you are a carpet store or flooring installer, perhaps a tile contractor, there are jobs for everyone with a daily stream of clients visiting Flooring Domain and looking for experts like you. Flooring Domain offers a free listing option that allows you to find new client leads. You can set up a free account at Flooring Domain by visiting flooringdomain.us. Have you ever tried to install LVP on steps only to struggle with the solution for the stair nose? Introducing Snap Caps by SnapTech. You simply send SnapTech the exact LVP your client selects, and they'll turn it into a perfectly matched stair nose that clicks flush into the tread plank. For a sample and reliable solution. Oh, sorry, man, I cannot read today. It's because I haven't done this in like 3 weeks. They'll turn it into a perfectly matched stair nose that clicks flush into the tread plank for a simple and reliable solution. Visit snaptech.us untitled.biz to learn more or order. Man, guys, I apologize. I am just way off. All right, that's it. Once again, Dan, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it. I will catch you all on the next one.